So I'm like, look, you need to calm down. I will talk to Mason. And I guess the talk that I had with Mason wasn't how he would have done it, you know. I was just like, look, you're a kid. We can't record ourselves and send things like that because you're a kid right now. But I didn't want him to feel like being naked was wrong. Okay, so when he was in foster, like the foster home, he was only there for a short time because the courts had gotten in touch with Brian, who lived in Massachusetts. I just said his name. The courts had gotten in touch with his father, who lived in Massachusetts, and it was like a process, like he was getting custody of Mason, but it was just kind of a waiting process. Like there was paperwork and things that needed to be done and a court date that was needing to be set, and then he was going to go into the care of his father. But yeah, so while he was in the foster home, he took off his clothes, and I guess it freaked the woman out, and she ended up taking him to like a mental hospital to be evaluated, just because of, I guess she, like I said, the symptoms of like his experience of ADHD, feeling anxious, well, the anxiety and the depression that he was experiencing. It was, I guess she felt like he needed to be further evaluated or something like that. So, well, no, it was the ADHD experience, but also there wasn't like anything said about experiencing anxiety and depression. So she took him to a mental hospital where he was kept there to be evaluated. And this is where they, said, okay, he's experiencing anxiety and depression. So while he was there, I did not know this while I was in jail, but I found out after the fact that my son went through some bullying at this hospital. And I found this out after the fact, like he was no longer there. Mind you, when the court date happened, my son went into his father's custody. He went to Massachusetts with his dad and his dad's wife and, their family. And Mason was there for 9 days. And then his father decided to send him to Alabama with my relatives. Okay. Now, back to me again. As a child, I felt abandoned by my father. So Mason had to experience that. Also, I experienced some bullying, people speaking negatively about me, and, I experienced some bullying, and Mason had to experience that as well. Okay. All of these things I now look at it was good, because God was clearing all of that energy off of him. But so when my son, again, at the time I wasn't really, I didn't have a good relationship with my relatives, and Mason was there. So I gave him a call, and there was one instance where I was speaking to my mom, and she was pretty much, letting me know this is how I found out that Mason experienced some bullying while at the hospital. Okay. And how it was explained to me, it was explained in a very resentful and hurt, grievous way. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to accept or receive that energy, because I saw what it was trying to do. It was like trying to condemn me. But I knew that God wasn't going to put us through a situation if it wasn't for our highest and greatest good. So I really had to connect to that and also learn some emotional intelligence. So gel was a really great experience for me. I was there for almost 3 months. And before I left, I could start to see that God was about to release me, because it was like I was learning things and clearing out again more things that I had been holding on to for years.